Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the live stream. I'm going to be trying to do these weekly from here on out. Um, Thank you for joining me. There's so much MMA stuff to talk about. I want to talk about Nate Diaz, future opponents, Yair Rodriguez potentially versus Giga Chikadze, and then also the huge news that dropped today. Apparently, Luke Rockhold was offered a return fight against Hamzat Chimaev, which was turned down by Chimaev, saying he wanted to focus on 170 and not fight at 185 against Luke Rockhold. And it's just crazy to me that the UFC is ready to just give Hamzat a name. You know, he's fought nobodies at this point. They tried to make the Leon Edwards fight over and over and over again. Um, and now they're trying to make a Luke Rockhold fight. I'm curious who Hamzat ends up fighting because it seems like the UFC is hell bent on giving him some type of, name, whether it's a former champion or, a top three guy or even a top five guy. They wanted the Leon Edwards fight over and over and over again. And also, I think it's surprising, Hamza has been talked about and worshipped by certain people. The fact that, oh, he'll fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. And I think it's kind of notable that now it comes out that he has turned down the Luke Rockhold fight. I mean, that would have been a big fight for him, but at 185 against Luke Rockhold, I think that would have probably been a really bad stylistic matchup for him. We're also going to just talk about all things MMA, answer your questions. You guys usually have a bunch of questions. We'll see what pops up. And also, we got to look forward to UFC 264. Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier is only, a little over 2 weeks away. And then also we can talk about Cyril Gane versus Alexander Volkov. Obviously, that's this weekend. We can talk about that card. That should be a lot of fun. Get other people's predictions for that card. I'm curious what people are thinking for that. Um, and there's just so much MMA to talk about. Max Holloway. I'm still depressed about him falling out. Before we do any of that, let me just double check and make sure everything's working right on my end. I always like to double check because seems like everything is working okay. Um, but yeah, we got Cyril Gane versus Alexander Volkanovski this Saturday. I already said, I already put out my prediction video. I'm going with Cyril Gane. I just think overall he's the better fighter. I think he'll be able to kind of pick Volkov apart. Um, you know, and I just don't think he's going to be there to be hit by Volkov. And Volkov succeeds, when a guy stands in front of him and just looks to land combinations repeatedly. And Volkov just doesn't have that lightning fast striking that's going to be able to, at least in my opinion, catch a guy like Cyril Gane or Cyril Gane, whatever you want to call him. I keep calling him both. I don't know the exact pronunciation of his name, but there's so much MMA to talk about. You also have, it came out today that apparently Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis is not happening in August like we thought it was. Apparently, it's rumored to be moving to September now, unless something comes together in the next week or so. I mean, I don't know what the UFC is doing for 265 because it's right around the corner and they don't have a main event yet. And guys like to have at least an 8-week training camp, uh, and it's pretty close. Um, but I I don't know what the main event's going to be for UFC 265. What's going on, Ginge? What's going on, Yusuf? I always appreciate you guys in the chat. I'm doing good. How are you? Volkov has reach and height. No, according to online, Cyril Gane has a 1-inch reach advantage. I know Volkov has the height, which there's very few guys that have a height advantage on Volkov. Stefan Struve being one of them. But according to online, all the online stats, Cyril Gane has a 1-inch reach advantage. I think it was 82 to 81 or 81 to 80. I can't remember. Yes, I did get a haircut. Thank you for noticing. I've been meaning to get a haircut for literally like a month now, and I've been putting it off, and I finally got it. It's funny, CT. Thanks for joining me, as always. I was just talking about it a little bit in my little intro for this live chat. I think it's very interesting. Let me read your exact question. What are your thoughts on Rockhold versus Chimaev, and who do you think would win? In my opinion, I got Luke. Much better striker, good takedown defense, and BJJ to back it up. I would agree with your assessment 100%. But there's one factor that you're not taking into account, and that's there's really two issues. What Luke Rockhold shows up, and also Luke Rockhold's chin. I personally, just because of the sheer size, the BJJ, the takedown defense, and the striking, I favor Luke Rockhold in all those. But it's hard to say. He hasn't fought in a long time, and his chin was already deteriorating then. Maybe the time off has rejuvenated him. But if gun to my head, let's say Luke Rockhold and Khamzat Chimaev were fighting tonight, I'd pick Luke Rockhold. I've always been very high on Luke Rockhold. I think he has the best top game in all of MMA, probably. At least he did in his prime. There was nobody getting guys down and controlling them the way he was able to do with a combination of wrestling and jiu-jitsu like Luke Rockhold was. And I just think that's probably why, and also I mentioned this in the intro to this live chat, I think the most interesting note to come out of this is the fact that Khamzat Chimaev has been built on, and his groupies have always been saying, he'll fight anyone, anytime, anywhere, and he's now turned down a Luke Rockhold fight, which was a big fight. Regardless of where Luke Rockhold is in his career, that was a big fight for Khamzat Chimaev. He went out there and knocked out Luke Rockhold or beat Luke Rockhold, that'd be a big deal. Now, again, I do know the downside of it. You would have, if Khamzat did go out there and knock out Luke Rockhold, everyone would be saying, well, Rockhold's washed. That doesn't really mean much, blah, blah, blah. So I do kind of get it from that perspective. But I wonder who he's going to end up fighting, because I doubt the Leon Edwards fight's ever going to happen. But maybe the UFC was so desperate to put that Khamzat Chimaev versus Leon Edwards fight together. If Colby's getting the shot, maybe they go out of their way to make that fight again. I don't know. But it is kind of ironic that Khamzat, the guy who said, I'll fight anyone, I'll smash anybody, is now saying, I don't want to fight Luke Rockhold. And I get it. Supposedly he wants to stay at 170 instead of going to 185. But he said he wanted to hop around. And don't get me wrong. Even though I laid out all the permutations of the Luke Rockhold fight, if he went out there and KO'd Luke Rockhold, you best believe they're giving him a title shot. They're going to say he beat a former champion. He's next in line for Adesanya. There's nobody else. Obviously Adesanya versus Whitaker would have to happen. But the UFC would give him that. Let me just make sure of something. I better no see Nunes versus Pena as the main event. Oh my goodness, Yusuf. If that happens, I'll be sick. I don't want that as a main event. I'm semi-interested in that fight, but as a main event, I don't want to buy that pay-per-view. I wouldn't mind seeing Nunes headline a pay-per-view. It gives her more attention, and plus it would probably do decent pay-per-views. She would sell more than most people. I don't know who most people are. And first off, and I'm not saying it's not worth talking about it, but I don't care what it sells. For me personally, the quality of a card with Nunes as a headliner doesn't get me excited. And it's not because of Nunes. Nunes is a great fighter. I love watching her fight. But the competition level that she has is just not, insane high level. I'm not really looking forward to any fights against Nunes, other than a Valentina. Now, if they did Nunes versus Valentina, I'm okay with that as a headliner. But Nunes versus Pena, no. I don't want that as a headliner. I call it because I remember a few lives ago I said I would love to see Luke fight Khamzat. I do remember you saying that, my friend. I do remember you saying that. And that would be a very fun matchup. I think Luke versus Khamzat would be a lot of fun. Khamzat gets a name. Luke Rockhold's been begging to fight anyone at this point in time. And I think a lot of fans would get behind it. You have a former champion taking on a hot prospect. They don't want the Khamzat hype train to be derailed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That one's hard for me to say that, the truth. The UFC offered it to him. So I don't know, what the reasons for not taking it is, other than the fact that I want to stay at 170. Maybe I want to focus on 170. Maybe he likes his chances against the champion at 170 better. And that's the only thing I can say. I don't know. And also, I think the UFC wants a fight for Khamzat where if he wins, they can undoubtedly give him a title shot and without any backlash. But if he loses, they can say, oh, well, he stepped up to a huge task. And Rockhold's a little bit in the gray area there. He's not, a lot of people would say, oh, he got beat up by a washed Luke Rockhold. And I don't think a lot of people would want that. Or UFC wouldn't want that, or Khamzat doesn't want that. It's not good for his brand. Maybe his manager said, you know what, this isn't a great matchup for you. If you lose, you're going to get shit on. If you win, you're going to get shit on. So maybe we turn this fight down and we look for something better. I mean, if he gets a top 5 opponent at welterweight, I would turn down Luke Rockhold too. If he can get Leon Edwards again, that fight is way better for him as far as career-wise than a Luke Rockhold fight would be. But that doesn't mean I'm not interested as a fan. Unless she's fighting Valentina. Yes, very true. You know the results before the fight. Unless she's fighting Valentina. She would sell more than Volk. Are you talking about Volkanovski? Sterling and Blachowicz and Blachowicz. And that's about it. Maybe Oliveira, but I don't think so. Just because Poirier has always had plenty of big names and Conor is a superstar, so I don't know. I don't think so. I think maybe on par with Sterling. I think Blachowicz sells more, and I think Volkanovski sells more. I have no inside knowledge to that. I'm just going off of what I feel like the perceived attention for a fight is. But I could be wrong. So, good morning, bro, from Abu Dhabi, and I'm about to go to bed. What's going on? Hope you're doing well, Mohammed. I appreciate you tuning into the live chat, as always. Watch them give Khamzat someone with a terrible takedown defense, and they might give him Bilal Muhammad, though, or Magny. Yeah, I think Khamzat beats Bilal Muhammad. And I speculated a while back, I thought they were going to give him Magny, but it's weird that the fight hasn't been announced yet. So now it's got me wanting to backtrack that. I don't know if it's going to happen now. I felt like for sure it was going to happen before, just because of Khamzat's situation. I feel like if they were going to book it, it would have already been booked by now. Both guys have been available. And also Khamzat just being out, and I thought they wanted him kind of ease him back in. Not that Neil Magny is an easy fight, but he's easier than a Leon Edwards or somebody like that. Ngannou versus Moreno, how do you think that would go? I think Moreno would stick to the outside until Ngannou wore himself out, and then Moreno would finish him by KO. Love your videos, dude. Really nice content. Keep it up. Thank you, Troopsterful. I really appreciate it. That means a lot. I do appreciate you, and I do appreciate the kind words. I've been trying to do a live chat every week so I can just talk to you guys. It's always fun to do this. And just talk about all things MMA. I really do enjoy answering your guys' questions. And every time somebody comments on a video or says something like that in the live chat, it just encourages me to keep going with the YouTube channel. Make more videos, talk about different, news topics, different fight announcements. Encourages me to do these prediction videos every week, which I love doing. But it does take time. So I really do appreciate the kind words, and I appreciate you tuning in. Nunes versus Spencer did 85,000 pay-per-view buys, which is poor. Yeah, 85,000 is terrible. Ngannou, but if they were the same size, Moreno would destroy Ngannou. I don't know. It's always hard to determine that because, Moreno at a heavyweight size, who knows? It's just hard. I don't even like talking about that type of stuff. It's very confusing. But skill for skill, Ngannou just has power. I don't know. Other than that, his striking isn't even that good. It's kind of sloppy. If he didn't have power, imagine if he had the power of Colby Covington. Ngannou wouldn't even be a threat at the heavyweight division at all. But, the world doesn't work like that. Oh, yeah. Bozer or OSP? I don't know. I don't really care about that fight. That's a terrible co-main event, by the way. If gun to my head, I'll go OSP. I always thought of joining with the chat, but it's 2:15. I just finished the night duty. And yes, your videos are good. Thank you, man. Thank you. And yeah, even if you stop in for 5 minutes, I appreciate talking to you. I can answer any questions you might have that, what is my opinion on this or that? Because I make videos that I think people want to see. But, sometimes there's stuff I miss, and you guys say, hey, what do you think about this? And I can get in the live chat. I can give you my honest opinion about it. I am a streamer, dude, on that grind day in and day out. What separates you from the rest more is that you're passionate and know your stuff. Keep grinding, dude. You will make it. Thank you. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. I hope so. I mean, I'm slowly creeping towards 800 subscribers. I'm about to hit the 3-month mark of my channel. So and I do love the sport. That is one advantage I have over some others. And also, we've talked about this on live chats. This is not something I've ever talked about in like a regular video or anything like that. But there's people that only cover the sport and they look for clickbait and they just spam it nonstop. Like they may make 100 Hamzat videos or 50 Conor McGregor videos. I'm talking about all relevant topics, no matter how much attention it grabs or not. Just because I'm interested in this sport, deeply, and I try to cover what I would like to get from an MMA channel as a consumer. I try to make my channel something that I would tune in and watch. So it's worked so far. I appreciate you guys. CT, Ginge, Troopsterful. You guys seem to like it. Yusuf seems to like it. But I really do appreciate it, and I hope that I hit 1,000 soon, and then next thing you know, I'll be going for 10,000. I would like to see someone go for a triple champ. I think Izzy would have a shot. He could be champ at light heavyweight, middleweight, and welterweight, but that would be a tough cut for Izzy. That would be fun seeing someone as a triple champion, but I don't know how likely that's going to be hard to pull off. I don't know how. I think Adesanya could improve and beat Jan Blachowicz, but I don't know how long Jan Blachowicz is going to be a champion for. You got guys like Alexander Rockhold and Yuri Prochaska, nipping at the heels of Jan Blachowicz, and I just don't know. I think that fight earlier this year for Adesanya was his chance to become double champion. After that, I just don't know. And I don't know about, him making welterweight. Maybe he could, but I doubt it. But if I had to go with a guy who had the best chance, I'm going to go with a name that you are going to think I'm crazy because he's currently not even a champion. I would say Jose Aldo has the best chance of being triple champion. Maybe he could be champion at 145. I think he could beat Volkanovski. I know he lost to him, but I think he could beat him. He could probably be champion at 135. We've seen how he was able to compete against Peter Yan. And the weight cut was so easy, maybe he could make 125. So, I know that's a stretch, but just given off the top of my head, I thought of Jose Aldo. How spooky. I have 745 followers. Race to 1,000. Yes, we will race to 1,000. I think I'm at 760 last time I checked. I don't remember. What's your take on the contract clause for Poirier versus Conor 2? On him having to KO him for a set amount. What do you mean? Can you fill me in on the details of that a little bit more? Super Saiyan MMA. I didn't hear this news yet. So if you can fill me in with more details in the chat, I gladly give you my take on that. But this is the first I've heard of it. Yanez boxing is super Chris. Yes, he looks very, very promising. He's not even ranked in the top 15 at bantamweight. We talked about him earlier in the on this channel, like maybe a month or 2 months ago, like when this channel had under 50 subscribers, or under 100 subscribers, something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I talked about Yanez in a live chat. Okay, my opinion is that Colby knows that people can see through his fake persona, but he's still doing it. He is stuck. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I get that some people like it. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's interesting. I didn't think it was when he started. I didn't feel that way when it started, but I think especially now it's played out. I don't think, and I don't feel like it works. A lot of people act like Colby's some big draw. I haven't seen any proof in that. I mean, Usman versus Colby was one of the best fights of the year in 2019, and I don't even know how many pay-per-view buys that did. I don't think Colby's a big star. Brandon Moreno has more Instagram followers than even Colby Covington, so take that for what you will. Curious what the new one for third fight is. I'm not sure what you're saying. You guys got to fill me in on that. Valentina may be a triple champ. Yeah, she could be. Ginge, thank you for filling me in on the number of subs. I was one off. Poirier come through big, but the UFC is messed up for that. Like, why would you have to KO someone to get big money? If you're fighting the biggest superstar, that should be an automatic big payday. That's crazy. So, let me know, but I think what your guys are saying is there's a clause in Poirier's contract where he gets paid more only if he knocks Conor out. Does that count if he TKOs him? I don't know. You guys got to fill me in on that. Please do. And Ginge, by the way, when I get like 5,000 subs, 10,000 subs, and the live chat's going crazy, I'm going to need you to be the moderator, my friend. You always have my back in the comments. I appreciate it. let's see. Muhammad, I agree. He was riding that Trump mental hype train, and now that's ended. He's just angry man shouting all the time. Yeah, it's played out. It's so played out, and I never found it interesting to begin with. Apparently, there's a specific amount of money for Poirier depending on how he beat him. KOing Conor was the biggest payout. Okay. That is very, very interesting. I've never heard of the UFC doing that before. Maybe it's something, it could be something Poirier negotiated, for all we know. That is very unique, and I hope the media asks some questions about that when we get to the media day. Who revealed that? Did Dustin Poirier reveal that, or did somebody else reveal that? Am I the only... I already know where this is going, and I agree with you, CT, I'm pretty sure. Also, am I the only one who's really been annoyed by Belal Muhammad? He keeps calling out top guys, and even though it was only one round, we saw he can't compete with the top guys. Leon was smashing him. Okay. So I agree with you about Belal Muhammad, but not based on the information you gave. Forget the Leon Edwards fight. That was only one round. We didn't see very much. I agree that he was getting lit up, but, I'll exclude that. Look at his performance against Damian Maia. That was a shit performance. And then he goes out there and says, and I don't think I'll ever like Belal Muhammad after this. And sometimes guys just say something and it rubs you the wrong way. And Belal said about Leon Edwards' performance against Nate Diaz, he said, I would have broke him. So you're telling me, Belal, you would have broke Nate Diaz, but you couldn't break 44-year-old Damian Maia? Come on, dude. Come on, shut up. Dude, shut up. Has Belal Muhammad ever even had an impressive performance? I've never been high on him. I picked him to lose against Damian Maia. I'm surprised he won, to be honest. I didn't realize how much of a beast Leon Edwards was. First time I saw him fight was against Nate Diaz. Yeah, Leon Edwards is a beast. Even go back and look. He fought Kamaru Usman before Kamaru Usman was champion, and he did pretty well. I mean, he lost, but he did pretty well, and it was a fun fight. I think that's why a lot of people want to see that rematch. The main concern about Leon Edwards, and it's the same concern people have about Cyril Gane, is he doesn't have that killer instinct. It almost looks like he can get a finish, and he never really goes for it. He's more of pick you apart for 5 rounds and never go for the finish and get the decision win. Guys, you have no idea, and I never realized it until I started doing these live chats. Talking nonstop for 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, gets you thirsty as hell. So I always got to have 3 waters on me when I do a live chat in case it goes an hour and a half. But yeah, Leon Edwards is a beast. I thought he was going to destroy Nate Diaz. The fight went pretty much how I thought it would go. I thought, Leon would go for more of a kill. Just because, people had been criticizing him for that. And I thought maybe he would turn it on knowing it was a huge fight against Nate Diaz. But he didn't. And he almost got stopped in the final minute. So I think a lot of people are going to criticize him for that. And people are only going to remember that. I don't know where Leon goes from here. I hope he gets a big fight. I would love to see him against, any of the top guys at this point. Dante Zero, nice haircut. Thank you, my friend. I'm glad you like it. I figured someone might come on here and start trashing me for my haircut. But I've been meaning to get a haircut for over a month now, and it was getting crazy. So yesterday I finally said, you know what? I'm going to get a haircut. And thanks for noticing, my friend. That's crazy. Belal is trying to put on an act, and it's absolutely terrible. It's not working at all. I hope they give him Luque again so Luque can KO him. Yeah, Luque. If Luque needs a fight, I thought they were matching Luque up with somebody. I can't remember. I thought Luque had a fight. Michael Chiesa. Luque has a fight against Michael Chiesa. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think Belal is going to get anyone. I think Belal is going to be a perpetual, I don't even want to call him a gatekeeper because I don't even think he's going to be that. But he's going to be a perpetual, ranked 8 to 15 guy. Would it be okay if I send you my Discord, dude? We speak a lot about UFC in the channels on Fight Night, etc. And I want to promote you on my stream, help you out. Yeah, that'd be awesome. What is your channel about? Is it about MMA? But that's fine. Yeah, send it to me. I don't know if you can send links in here. So you have to... you can DM me on Twitter if you want. Here, let me put my Twitter on there. Anyone who wants to follow me on Twitter can follow me here. I'll put my Twitter in the chat. But yeah, send it to me somehow, some way. I don't know if you can comment on somewhere, but I'll check it out. And if you can help me out. Tell some people. Yeah, I always tell in my live chat also, if you have any MMA friends or friends who enjoy MMA, send them my channel and tell them to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Anybody in here, if you haven't already, make sure to like the live stream. I really do appreciate that. So we got 7 likes right now. Get me up to like 12 already. I'd really appreciate it. If you haven't done it yet, just go do it for me. Speaking of Luque, who do you have between Luque and Chiesa? I got Luque by late KO or decision. That is a tough fight, my friend, because I see it going 2 ways. Either Luque by finish or probably Chiesa by submission. But I don't know if he's going to be able to. I just don't know if he's going to be able to get Luque down. And Luque does have decent jiu-jitsu. I don't remember the last time Luque got taken down, but he hasn't really been fighting the level of grapplers that Michael Chiesa is. So Michael Chiesa doesn't have the best takedowns, but once he gets you down, he has great top game. So I have to think about that more, but gun to my head, I'm going to go with Luque right now. But by the time the fight comes around, I may change my mind, so don't hold me to that pick. But I think Luque can probably fend off the takedowns, and Michael Chiesa has some of the worst hands in MMA. And I think Luque has some of the most technical striking in MMA. I think he can really light up. Chiesa. Yeah, Bilal cannot compete with the big boys. Monty Gaming, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining the live chat. Awesome. Let me see. Awesome. I am a Final Fantasy 14 WoW streamer, but I love MMA, and I could send you some traffic your way. I know it's a strange mix, right? Sat fishing on Final Fantasy for ocean clouds while watching people get punched. It's the best. That is a funny mix, my friend. But yeah, I appreciate any of the help, man. That really does mean a lot to me. So thank you. If you can help me out and send some people my way that are going to enjoy my videos, only if they're going to enjoy them. If they're not going to enjoy them and watch them, then don't send them. But if you think they'll like it, then send them my way. Hey, I like Bilal. He ain't the best fighter, but he's funny and a bit cringy. Yeah, I just feel like some of the shit he's been saying has been off the wall lately. Like, to go out there and lay an egg against Damian Maia, who's like 44 years old, and then come out talking shit right there, it just puts me off badly. Like, I would have beat up Nate worse than Leon. You couldn't even beat up Damian Maia. Even before the Edwards fight, Bilal was being annoying. He kept saying that people are going to remember him as the greatest of all time and the most entertaining of all time. You're not Gaethje or Lawler, bro. I am not, and I'll say this again, I've mentioned it multiple times already, I'm not high on Bilal Muhammad at all. I think he's overrated. I don't think he's that good. I just really don't. I just see him as a journeyman. I feel like he's a guy who's trying to put on a little bit of a persona mixed with his real personality. And it just, I don't know, for me, it's not something that I can gravitate towards. I think some people will like it, but I don't think he's ever going to fight for a title. We've seen what Leon did to him in the first round. We've seen how he looked against Damian Maia. So for me, Bilal's already, he might as well be gone, because for me, he doesn't even exist. I don't even think about him when I think of the top, welterweight fighters. Luke will destroy Hamzat. Please tell people about the way he took down a bull. I don't know what you're saying, but then you said CT, you're right. Tanver Ali, thanks for joining the chat. I appreciate you. But yeah, I think we were talking about it earlier in the chat. I think I favor Luke to beat Hamzat. I don't know if Chiesa could submit Luque. Luque trains with Gilbert Burns, and I'm sure he's seen submissions that we didn't even know existed. That's why I don't see Chiesa submitting him. Yeah, we have to see. We'd have to see that fight play. I don't know, but Chiesa, if he can get him down, I mean, Chiesa has some slick submissions. But then again, Chiesa got submitted by Kevin Lee, but we don't know how much Luque or Chiesa has improved since their last fight. But it's definitely a fight. It's a great matchup the UFC made. I really like that matchup. Yeah, Bilal is super cringe. Very, very true. So as MMA fans, do we all collectively agree we don't like him? I think CT said he liked him, but I think the vast majority, I don't think it's that they don't like him. It's just that they're indifferent towards him. Like it's not like I hate Bilal Muhammad. I don't care about him. His fighting style is not that great to me. I know he does have a good pressure style sometimes, but against in the biggest fights of his career, he's done nothing, and he talks like he has some great achievement. So it really puts me off. Yeah, but he has to say that. What do you expect? He's going to sit quiet, and the Maya fight was kind of boring because Maya did nothing except grabbing the leg. Yeah, but I feel like Bilal could have pressed forward and looked for looked for combinations on the feet and tried to finish Maya, and he didn't. Um, Damian Maya is a beast at what he does. That one-dimensional fight style just doesn't work in this era. Everyone is so well rounded. Most people will struggle to destroy Maya. Agreed. I do get what you're saying. Yeah, there's very few specialists we have nowadays in the sport. I remember we talked about it last live chat, Rusamar Palhares. But yeah, Damian Maya is hard to look good against. Not caring is worse than hating. Yes, I actually don't even get into I don't necessarily I don't like Colby Covington, but I don't necessarily even care. Like his persona just makes me indifferent and not care to pay attention to anything he says. Some people are different. Some people like that stuff. And I like a good storyline here and there. But for me, the fake persona, it doesn't get me interested at all. And so, I like watching Colby Covington fight because he's one of the best welterweights in the world. But the persona does absolutely nothing for me. And the fact that he has this fake persona is less interesting to me than if he was just himself and he was bland as can be. Yeah, I don't think he's marketed himself very well either. Maya would have been finished if it was anyone else. It's hard to say. Maya's super hard to finish. A lot of people are worried about the takedowns. A lot of top guys haven't been able to finish him, so it's really hard to say. But at this advanced age, I feel like Bilal could have done better. At least looked for something. He didn't even look like he was looking for combinations. But yeah, I think Maya's done. Apparently, he's asking for one more fight. I don't know who he fights. I mean, he's calling out Nate Diaz, Nick Diaz. I don't think those fights are going to happen. I just really don't know what I think Maya's probably going to retire here. There was talk of him fighting Hamzat last year. That never came to fruition. I think he's just best to just ride off into the sunset. He can probably compete in jiu-jitsu or something. Just that specialist style, like somebody said before, it just doesn't work in this era of the MMA. Colby contradicts himself. He calls Usman opponents lightweight washout, even though RDA put him in the picture, a former lightweight. Yeah, very true. A lot of stuff he says, he's just trying to get a rise out of people. If I was Usman or whoever he's talking about, I would just completely ignore him. I wouldn't even respond. It's not worth your response because that's exactly what he wants. He wants his name in the conversation. And if you don't like him or you don't want to give him what he wants, like if I'm Kamar Usman personally, I don't want to give him what he wants. And I just think that it's it's just such a crazy act, and it's so cringy in my opinion. It's worse than Henry Cejudo. So for me, and I don't think it's even helping him all that much. It's helped him a little bit, but it's not something that he's not like got crazy popular off of it. People are not gravitating towards it. I have sent you a link just to talk about how strong he is. Okay, I'm not sure what you're saying. Maya versus Cowboy retirement fight. Sure, why not? I think that would be an okay fight. I don't necessarily want to watch either one of those guys fight anymore, and I love MMA. But that's a decent fight. That makes sense right now. Colby most iconic line. I think he broke my jaw. I know, and also I think what turns me off about guys like Colby is after he lost, instead of sucking it up and just taking the loss like a man and earning his way back, he just cries and says, "Oh, well, this happened and that happened and I got eye poked and this and that and this and that." And I hate guys that lose fights and make nothing but excuses and cry and whine and cry and whine and cry foul and excuse after excuse after excuse. Just go out there, say, he was the better man that night. I'm going to build myself back, and I'll be back, and I will be fighting for a title again, and I will win the title. The excuses really put me off, and that's also another reason, Conor puts me off. Because a lot of times after his fights, he does do a very good job in the immediate aftermath. In the immediate aftermath in the octagon, he accepts the loss. He gives the other guy credit. But then in the weeks following, he makes nothing but excuses, and it just drives me nuts. Just take your loss. Really enjoy your talk. I'll be here regular. I appreciate it. I'm trying to do a live chat at least once a week. I put out a couple of videos a week every week talking about MMA. I cover every topic. I'm not just looking for, clickbait titles to, drum up interest. I'm just talking about MMA from an honest fan of, what I personally would love to consume from a channel. So I appreciate you. Usman does the best he could to ignore him while Colby is whining in every interview the fight was rigged. Trump's favorite escort. If I'm Usman, I just don't mention his name. And I know a lot of people are going to say Usman's trying to duck Colby. But I genuinely believe if Usman tries to get a fight with another welterweight, I think it's not because he's trying to duck Colby. I think it's because he doesn't like Colby and he doesn't want to give him the shot. And if he has any say over it, he'll be like, you know what? Go win a couple more fights, then I'll give you a shot. Just because he is the champion, he's been active for the UFC. Regardless of who he's fought, he's been active for the UFC. And the UFC might say, okay, let him call shots a little bit. And he might be able to say. But then again, Dana White's been adamant it's going to be Colby Covington next. So we'll see. I love no matter who Usman fights next. If he fights somebody in the top 5, I'm excited. So I don't care. Vettori does that too. Vettori is just disillusioned. He thought he won both Adesanya fights. Come on now. Come on. Do you think we see Moreno versus Cody Garbrandt next? I hope not. I mean, Cody Garbrandt just got jabbed to death by Rob Font. And you just can't give a guy a title shot coming off a loss like that. You know what I mean? It would be disgraceful to the sport. I'd be sickened. I wouldn't want to watch it. I think Cody, I didn't mean Colby. Cody has to go down to flyweight and win at least one fight and win it impressively, and then we can talk about it. But right now, I think the winner of Askar Askarov versus Alex Perez, I think it is, should be next in line, which is happening the end of July, so about a month away. That's how a man acts. He takes a loss, stays humble, and does better in the next. That's all you can do, and the fans honestly appreciate it because fans ain't stupid. What fans hate the most is dishonesty. I know, me especially, I hate it. Even if it's one of my favorite guys and he comes out and makes a boatload of excuses after a loss, it makes me sick. It's really annoying to me. And I just think the best thing you can do is just suck it up, eat your loss, and come back better. And a lot of people really do appreciate it. There is the nut hugger fans that will eat up any excuse and just ride out to the day they die. They'll say, oh, Conor didn't know calf kicks existed before the Dustin Poirier second fight. They'll eat them shots up. They'll eat them excuses up, not shots. Moreno versus Font. Font's not going down to flyweight. I think he's a big 135er. Not crazy big, but I don't think he can make the 125-pound limit healthily. You think Nate will get a title shot if he wanted to? If he would have beat Leon Edwards, yes, but I don't think the UFC can do that now. I think they would get crucified by the fans and the media. It would still sell a lot, but I just think the UFC thinks even for them that's stretching the merit of the sport too far. I personally would be sickened. I personally would not buy that pay-per-view unless it was crazy stacked. Because I don't want to see that. I'm into this sport. I know sometimes there's a gray area, but if there's not going to be a fight that is somewhat based in merit and reality, then what are we even watching then? Are we watching a circus act? By no means does Nate Diaz even deserve to be in a number one contender fight at welterweight, let alone a title shot. Do you think a 165-pound division would spice it up? I've never been really interested in the 165-pound. I mean, if you can make 165, make 170. If you can't, then make 155. I get it. I get the reasoning behind it, but for me, I just don't like it. And I don't like the thought of adding a million different divisions. Gaethje versus Chandler. Who do you got? I would probably go Gaethje. That fight has not been announced, though, right? Let me know if that has been. Uh, because I know it's been speculated, but if it's been announced, let me know in the chat. Cause sometimes I'm doing these live chats and I might miss some breaking news. Volkan and Ankalaev is set for August. Who do you got? I've got Volkan by KO. That's a great fight. I'll probably go Volkan by TKO. I love his style. And he has filthy power. Even his short shots have a lot of power behind him. It'll be an interesting fight to really gauge where Ankalaev is. But for me, I'll go Volkan as well. I don't think Nate wants to be a champ. Honestly, I think he will need to be active. Yeah, I don't think Nate wants to fight Kamaru Usman anyway. You know what Usman would do to Nate? It would be filthy. Maybe Nate versus George BMF 2. I think that's a possibility. There was talk of them doing it earlier this year. You know, it was late last year they were talking about it, and there was talk of doing Nate versus Jorge in the beginning of this year. But I don't think there's interest for it. You know, I think it would sell, but I just think both guys coming off back-to-back losses, 0-4 in their last 4 fights combined, I don't think, there's markability for that. I did it in my video last night. It's time to see Nathan Diaz versus Tony Alcucubi Ferguson. I think that's the fight to make. I want to see that fight so badly. The style matchup's a lot of fun. We could get one of those guys back on track. And I think that's the fight to make. Do you guys want to see Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson? Because I do. And I think even as a co-main event on a pay-per-view, it would make a lot of sense. Why are Nate and Masvidal still the BMFs? It's always going to be. It's a fake belt, man. It doesn't mean anything. And they're always going to be parading that title around. Jorge Masvidal is going to be carrying it around. It means nothing. And it was a slippery slope when they did it. They did it to be funny. But I don't even like, I never really liked the idea. I thought it was okay for a one-time deal. But for me personally, it's not something I want to see, defended or ever really talked about again. It's just turning the sport into it's delegitimizing the sport. What's up with Nate antagonizing the champ, meaning no disrespect? I don't know. Nate's a wild dude. It's hard to decipher what his true intent is. So I really can't tell you on that one. I don't even think he wants to fight Usman at all because he knows what Usman would do to him. Nate's not. People think Nate is dumb based on the way he speaks and his vocabulary, but he's smart enough to know what Kamaru Usman would do to him, and it would not be fun. I think they should have many more weight divisions between middle and light heavyweight, but it involves fighters not having to cut weight anymore. I don't know what the answer is, Ginge. I see where you're coming from, but for me, I hate getting too many divisions, and it's like 5 pounds here, 5 pounds there. Maybe give us a 195-pound division. We have 155, we have 170, we have 145, we have 135. But the smaller you get in weight, the more, 10 pounds is a higher percentage of your total overall weight. The higher you get, the lesser percentage it is. So I don't know, but maybe you could have a 195-pound division. For me, I don't know. I just don't know, man. I've tried to put thought into it, but for me, I'm almost like a stickler. Like, I just like what I like, and I just don't want to lose it. Like, I'm just used to what we have now. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe I should be saying we need this division. But I just don't know. I think there can be other things done for weight cutting other than that, other than adding extra divisions. The BMF is the journeyman belt, 27 losses combined, probably. Do you think Thug Rose is a bit overrated? I'm going to go with no. I mean, she's arguably the best strawweight of all time. She went out there and starched Weili Zhang. She went out there and starched Joanna, then gave her a rematch and beat her again. There's some great names at strawweight, and she's beat them all. So, except Carla Esparza. So, to say she's overrated, I'm going to say no on that one. By the way, guys, I love true or false questions. So throw me some true or false questions if you would. I would love those. Devin Moons, thanks for joining the chat. 165 makes sense. 125, 135, 145, 155, 170, and 185. What sense does that make? It goes up 15 pounds after lightweight. It makes sense in the day back when they had less fighters. I think, and I don't know, I'm just pulling shit out of my ass right here, but I just said it before. I think the thought process is the higher you go up in weight, the less percentage of your weight is 10 pounds, if that makes sense. So, where, 135 to 145 is a big jump when you weigh that little. It's not the same when you're up at 185 or 205. At least I think is the thought process behind it. But I'm open to the argument. For me, though, I don't like the change. Maybe it's just me not liking change, though. I can't really give you a good argument against it. But I just don't want to dilute down so many weight classes, so many champions, confusing. That's why I don't like it. But I can't say I would be totally opposed to it. Of course, something pops up on my screen. Super heavyweight division. Nah, there's barely enough heavyweights as it is. Ginge. So super heavyweight division is completely outlandish. It would never happen. Put me on the ear pods. Appreciate it, my friend. Appreciate it. Rose also lost a lot of fights at strawweight. Yeah, how many fights has she lost at strawweight? She lost to Andrade by slam. That was fluky. I don't really believe in that one. And she lost to Carla Esparza early on. Who else did she lose to? I can't remember. So if you can put that in the chat, Yusuf, I would really appreciate it. Remember, Joey, they wanted to get rid of the 155-pound division a while ago. Lot now at 155. Loot now at 155. Very true. I didn't know they ever wanted to get rid of that, to be honest. I know they wanted to get rid of the 125-pound division, which made me sick. What I think there could be, and I would be open to this argument for adding weight classes. It would relieve some of the log jams in some of these divisions. Look at welterweight. Even with Usman's activity, we have a perpetual log jam in the division where guys just aren't fighting for the title. And maybe with more divisions, we could get less of log jams because, some of those 170ers would go down to 165. Some of those, if you did every 10 pounds, and they would go to 175, and it would ease up some of the log jams in some of these divisions. More weight classes means more potential champ versus champ fights. Some great fighters could really shine. Imagine Khabib if he doesn't have to cut weight. Yeah, but I think that's an issue more for weight cutting than weight classes, Khabib could have not cut weight and fought at 185. And my guess is Khabib probably walks around at more than 185 anyway. I believe that was the 125 they tried to get rid of. Yeah, that's what I thought. I've never heard of getting rid of 155. I thought maybe that was before I was a fan. So, I get it, but I don't know if adding weight classes is the answer, other than maybe relieving some of the log jams for some of these fighters. The Andrade fight was not a fluke. It was the second time Andrade tried it, and Andrade always does that lift. Yeah, I know. For me, it was a fluke. Rose was going to win the fight, and she got slammed on her head. It was her own fault for holding on to submission. I respect your opinion, Yusuf, but I just agree to disagree. I think it was fluke. I think Rose beats her 9 out of 10 times. But in that rematch, if it would have been a 5-round fight, maybe Andrade would have finished her in the late rounds. So who knows? Maybe it didn't play out enough, even with the slam. The slam was fluky, but maybe if a 5-round fight played out, maybe she would still win. Baz94, what's up, man? Thanks for joining the live chat. Everyone in here, don't forget to like the video. I really do appreciate it. If you're rewatching this not live, do me a favor, like the video right now. I really appreciate it. Most fighters choose to cut weight. It's because the size advantage. They want to have a size advantage over the opponent. And I think one championship does it. They measure them like the week of the fight. They're weighing them. And you can only be a certain percentage above what you're weighing in at. And I think it's dramatically decreased weight cutting. It's an issue with the sport. I think it has to be solved. I think there's some ways you could make adjustments and solve it. But I also think people way smarter than me have to figure that out. I don't know exactly what the answer is. They wanted to get, if 155, I hear on the weigh-in podcast, Big John was talking about it. They must have misspoke. Unless it was 10 plus years ago, there was never talk about getting rid of 155. Okay, then it had to be a while ago. So maybe that's when it was. Maybe it was before they absorbed WEC or something. But I didn't hear that. Yair been ducking Zabit for years. Yeah, I don't know. I remember he turned down the fight originally. Remember the UFC cut Yair Rodriguez at one point in time because he turned down the fight? I don't know if that fight's never going to happen at this point. Zabit's having issues. He needs to have surgery. Who knows how everything's going to play out. I would love to eventually see that fight. I wanted to see that as a number one contender fight. It sucks that we're not going to have it. But hopefully Zabit comes back healthy. Hopefully Yair is able to get some ring rust off. Maybe we could get Yair and Zabit one more fight for each other, to take some of that ring rust off. And then we could have them fight. You can't call it a fluke if she tried to move more than once in the fight. Was the head kick a fluke? No, I don't think so, but maybe. After Jens Pulver took the belt, they talked about getting rid of the lightweight. The BJ Penn became a star and saved the division. That's crazy. I didn't know that. So you taught me something today, Devin. I did not know that. I've been a fan for about 10 years. 11 years maybe. So that's news to me. I've never heard that before in my life. So thanks for teaching me something. They got rid of the 155 title for a while. That's crazy. That is crazy. I never heard of that. So BJ Penn basically saved the 155ers. I came in at the tail end of the BJ Penn era. I watched BJ Penn lose his title. So yeah, I'm not sure who was the first 155-pound champ. It's crazy. Do you guys remember when Benson Henderson was the 155 champ and he was just fighting like every other month? It seemed like that was an awesome time. Even though Benson Henderson, he wasn't the most exciting fighter, he wasn't going out there and getting finishes every fight. He was active, and I love activity, and I love I remember forget when Benson just absolutely dominated Nate Diaz, and Benson. I had a lot of fun watching Benson for years. I'll never forget those up kicks he landed on Frank Yeager in China, I think it was, or somewhere in Asia. But 155 has had a good run, and it's hard to believe Charles Oliveira is the reigning champion right now. I've liked Charles Oliveira to eventually be a champion for a long time now, and it's fun seeing him, in that spot. And there's a lot of fun matchups for this next year, 2 years. Hopefully, pretty soon we'll be talking about some of those matchups after Poirier versus Conor plays out. Let me know in the chat, who do you guys got in the Poirier-Conor trilogy in 2 weeks from now? Because that's coming up right around the corner. Hold on, Baz. Sometimes it's hard to see. I'm trying to keep up with them. What would do more pay-per-view buys in welterweight? T-Ferg versus Nate Diaz or T-Ferg versus Jorge Masvidal? I'll say T-Ferg versus Nate Diaz. I think that would be an awesome build-up. Sean Shirk had it before BJ. Who was the first champion? I don't have time to look it up right now while I'm trying to read these comments. Possibly Pat Miletich. I don't know what that's about. I must have missed something. It's Olives, Joey. That's hilarious. That's going to stick with him forever. Who would have thought Dan Hooker gave him a nickname to stick with him forever? Anthony Smith claimed today that Jones failed every drug test going into their fight. He claimed the commission called him and told him that Jones failed all the drug tests. The question is why they let this happen. I am not up to date with all this information on that, but I think what he's talking about is the picogram incident that was going on before the Gus fight as well. I think it was one of those things where they were still getting information about that, and maybe that's what it was. Okay, he's popping positive, but we don't believe he's using right now. Whatever your opinion is on that, people can have a variety of opinions, but I think that's what that was about, honestly. I think it was the fact that he had those picograms in his system after being caught and tested positive for, after, the original positive test against Daniel Cormier. Dante Zero. Okay, hold on. What Devin said is true. It was talk early MMA. Don't remember if Joe Rogan who spoke about it. I will have to check. Thanks for joining, Pedro, and thanks for the clarification. I appreciate it. Oliveira losing the belt in December by you know who, round 1 KO. Yusuf, you have an axe to grind with Charles Oliveira. Mainstream Mop, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you, man. How are you doing? I think Conor can get it done this time, but Dustin has a really good chance too. Um, about a week, I'll be doing a prediction video for it, my friend. So you guys will get to find out my breakdown of the fight. Say about Conor what you want. He makes excuses and talks BS, but he can fight and knock you out on any given night. It's going to be the same like last time. Let's see. Did Yair accept the Giga fight? Not since I got on the stream. I'm not looking at the news as I'm on the stream, but I have not heard that yet. Let me just check real quick. I don't see anything, but it's hard to check that quickly. What would be your dream fight in the realm of possibility? Are you talking about? You're talking about in the realm of possibility for MMA right now would be Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Charles Oliveira, or Charlie Olives, as some people refer to him as. I think if Poirier is able to make it out of the first round, he wins. How would you hold on? Yeah, I think personally, I don't think Conor's power translates as much to 155 as people think it does. So as long as Dustin can weather the early storm, I think his chances of winning, his probability of winning, are very, very high. Where's Joshua Fabi at? I have no idea. Luckily, he disappeared. Well, did he accept the Giga fight? I don't know yet, my friend. I don't think so. It's not official yet. I couldn't find anything. How would you react if they put Dana in Fortnite? I wouldn't care. Yeah, gotta go to Jesse on Fire for Fabia news. Yeah, that guy seems like he spams a Fabia video every other day. I like to do it. I like to talk about all things MMA, whether it's something crazy with Diego or not. But to sit there and spam, 12 videos a day about the same topic, making up stuff, that is not me. If that's what you're looking for in an MMA channel, that is not me, my friends. Jens Pulver, I believe, was the first 155-pound champ. Okay, well, thank you for that information. I was not sure who was the first 155-pound champ. And I actually just watched a video on the UFC's YouTube recently where they went through every champ at 155, but I can't remember who was first. But I think you're right. I remember watching Frankie lose to Benson in them two close fights. Yusuf says Khabib will smash through Oliveira guard. Yeah, I think Khabib beats Oliveira, but it's still a fight that I would love to see, and I think it's a very fun stylistic matchup. You have Charles Oliveira's BJJ versus Khabib's takedown, ground and pound, and also his submission skills. I would love to see it. Will you call Joshua Fabia for a fight prediction? No, I will not. I don't trust anything that guy says. I'd prefer Khabib versus. Yeah, that was my second. That was my second go-to. I actually thought that in my head when I was going through that. I would love Khabib versus Usman. I know Oliveira is fantastic, but everything Oliveira does on the ground, Khabib does better. Khabib has made wrestlers and jiu-jitsu guys look like amateurs. Yeah, but I think Oliveira would still have a chance to snatch up a submission on Khabib, and I don't think Khabib's tapping either. So if Oliveira catches him in a submission, Khabib is going to sleep. But Khabib versus Usman will be a lot of fun. But for me, I think Usman wins that fight. I'm sorry to say. All things equal, Usman's the bigger guy. But I would love to see it. Without a doubt, I think both guys have a chance in that fight. And I think Usman versus Khabib would be an awesome fight to watch. Without a doubt. I'm trying to see if there's any news that broke while I'm on here. Let me take a look, my friends. Because sometimes there is. Nope, don't see anything. Yep, nope. Khabib would ragdoll Oliveira. He would definitely be able to take him down with ease. That's not up for debate. It's whether or not Oliveira is able to snatch up a quick submission. I would love to see it. I've been dreaming of that fight forever. Would you collab with Joshua Fabia? Yeah, I'd do it. I'd interview him for sure. I'd love to interview him. That'd be awesome. But yeah, Khabib would almost definitely win against Oliveira. But I still would just love to see it. The stylistic matchup. If Oliveira was able to submit him, the world would just explode. Uh, I would personally love it. By the way, guys, do me a favor. Don't forget to like the stream. I really appreciate it. It helps grow the channel. So do that right now if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. I don't know who wins Khabib versus Usman. Being honest, Usman is a beast, but I've never seen Khabib been like at his limit or bleeding, going all out. Yeah, I just think Usman's the bigger guy. I think even if their striking's equal, but I would love to see Usman trying to take Khabib down. That would be a lot of fun. But it's hard to say. I'd favor Usman. I'm just trying to give you a pick. I would favor Usman, but it's hard to say. But yeah, Khabib never even seems like he's really trying, does he? Can Islam beat Dan Hooker? Definitely. I'd pick Islam to beat Dan Hooker without a doubt. MMA Nights with Joey and Joshua. Could you imagine if I had a separate spin-off podcast of the channel with Joshua Fabia? That'd be hilarious. Very true. I think that is a key to beating Usman. Usman's got kind of chicken legs. I would love to see someone go out there and just chop Usman's legs out hard. But there's nobody there to do it. Maybe Leon Edwards is the guy to get it done. I would love to see Wonderboy against him. There's so many matchups yet to come for Usman. And I just, hopefully, we get some of those top guys against Usman soon. We got the Colby rematch. Then we got Leon Edwards hanging around. Then we got Wonderboy versus Burns. If Wonderboy wins, I'd love to see Wonderboy. Fabia is a straight up weirdo, guys. He is one of the weirdest, and he's such a narcissist, and he always talks in circles, and I can't stand that. So I would definitely press him hard. But I think the key to beating Usman is definitely footwork and chopping those chicken legs. If somebody can keep Usman off of them, I think they can win, especially if they're a decent. Like, Colby's a terrible striker, in my opinion. So Colby doesn't count. So I just don't think Colby can sit there and outstrike Usman. I know it was a phenomenal first fight. But, Colby's just, again, going into that fight, I did not have a channel, so I'll give you my quick breakdown of what I thought going into that fight. I thought if all things are equal, if the wrestling cancels out each other's wrestling, I thought Usman had the better striking, and that's what showed on that night. I know it was a close fight, but Usman showed he edged him out in the striking department. Justin, his teammate, has great kicks. Sure, he trains on that. Yeah, I'm sure he does too. But I'd love to see somebody go out there and just try to chop him legs down. Because limit his movement. Usman has very small legs. Maybe he can seize up that calf, Sean O'Malley style. I'd say Wonderboy would be hungry enough to do it. He needs that welterweight belt after all these years. Yeah, I don't think the UFC wants Wonderboy fighting for a belt. He's older now. If he wins a belt, he's probably just going to retire. So, and also the two fights against Woodley, they weren't happy with that one. Most underappreciated comment. Colby isn't a great striker, but his fans refuse to believe. Colby is one of the worst strikers. But because of the threat of the takedown and the volume, he's able to succeed on the feet. Super Saiyan, Justin and Khabib are not teammates. I think he was saying Usman and Justin are teammates, my friend. Usman and Justin are teammates. What do you think about light heavyweight Magomed Ankalaev? He's fighting Volkan in September, I think. And I think Volkan beats him. So it's but I think Ankalaev, if he's able to get by Volkan Ozdemir, I think he'll be a very interesting light heavyweight prospect. And also, Volkan is kind of like the gatekeeper at light heavyweight. And light heavyweight is starting to fill out a little bit with John Jones' absence. You got Alexander Rakic, Yuri Prohaska. Jan Blachowicz is the champion. You got Ankalaev making his way up. Leon Edwards deserves a title shot at least more than Colby. That's a tough argument, but I would say they're probably about equal. Uh, neither guy has beat much of anyone. Colby's only beat Woodley, but maybe I don't know. For me, I've said this before. There is no concrete case for any one welterweight getting the title shot right now. There's no guy that you can say unequivocally deserves it. I'd be okay with any of the top 5 guys getting it, really. But I would not disagree with you, saying Leon deserves a bit more. He is on a longer streak, but I just wish he had that quintessential win. Do you think we see a Dagestan with the name Magomed, which maybe, I don't know, man. There's Magomedov, I think he fights in Bellator. I do not agree. He will make him sleep. With respect, okay, we will find out. That's why I love to hear others' opinions. Colby's wins didn't age well. Lawler, Maia, Woodley. Yes, they did not age well at all. Wait, Colby hasn't fought since fall of 2020? Nope. He has not fought since fall of 2020. He has not fought since he fought Woodley. And I didn't even think that was a great performance by him in that fight. He dominated Woodley, but it wasn't super impressive to me. And maybe I'm just a Colby hater, but was anybody else super impressed with that? I mean, I thought Woodley was washed at that point anyway. But it is what it is. He did get a win over a former champion. And I think Colby, his main claim to the next title shot is the amazingness of their first fight between Colby and Usman. But again, I don't feel like you can elevate a guy off a loss. You can't say Colby's best, accomplishment is his loss to Usman. The top 5 welterweights avoiding each other. I know I've been talking about this literally since I started my channel. Finally, with Burns versus Wonderboy, we get to see that end it. Nobody's fighting each other except Usman's fighting some of the top 5 guys. Guys, do me a favor. Like the video. It doesn't seem like anybody listened to me the first time. Please like the video. I appreciate it. I don't like to call the fighters washed, but Woodley is the definition. Yes, me neither. I don't ever like saying that either. I feel bad saying that. But I know what you mean. Yeah, Woodley, he just seemed like he didn't even want to be in there. Woodley is the definition of he seemed like he was showing up for a check. He talked all that shit before the Colby fight. Like he was going to decimate him. And he just went out there and did nothing. So, it is what it is. Ankalaev hasn't beaten anyone that really good. Side crawl off, and it was a close fight. Yeah, Ankalaev has improved to me. He got a big win over Kutalaba. But Kutalaba is really nobody at this point in time. So, I don't know. I get that he's looked good, but again, look at the level of competition he's fighting. So, hopefully, we see, with the Volkan Ozdemir fight, we'll get a better gauge on his skill set. But it's hard to say until we see that. Then, I always feel like that with a lot of fighters. They get a lot of hype, but then you look at their resume and they haven't beat anyone. Featherweight stacked, bantamweight stacked. There's so many great fights to be made at featherweight and bantamweight. I mean, you got so many guys. Like you got Volkanovski versus Ortega fighting for the belt. Then you have, so many guys hanging around the background. Yair Rodriguez versus Max Holloway, which was supposed to happen, which isn't happening. You got Giga making his way up the rankings. You got Zabit hanging out there if he returns after his surgery. You have just so many great fighters. You got Calvin Kattar, who just, he got the shit beat out of him earlier this year against Max, but, we'll see. Yusuf says, you streaming on Saturday? I'm not sure yet. It's a very early card. I might, though, but I'm not sure. Joey, how do you think Volkanovski versus Ortega goes? I may change my mind, but I think Volkanovski's able to stuff the takedowns, and I think he's the better striker, so I think he outstrikes Ortega, and he probably wins a decision. Or maybe he finishes Ortega. But I might change my mind when we get closer to the fight. We'll see. True or false? I love true or false questions. You will have 10K subscribers this time next year. Pitties and STI, thank you for joining me. I'm going to say false because I'm going to have 15,000 this time next year. So we'll see. I'll remember this live chat, and I'll go back to that and look and remember it if I do hit 15K by next year. I would hope so, but I'm just setting my goals high. If I hit them, that's great. If not, that is what it is. I'm going to continue doing my thing, but we'll see. Ortega and Volk will take place at UFC 266, right? I'm not 100% sure. There's been speculation of that, but then today there's been talk that Ngannou versus Derek Lewis is happening there too. And I don't know if the UFC is going to want to put 3 title shots there. So maybe they try to finagle something where they move Ortega versus Volkanovski up. I don't know. But if so, there's a potential we get Ngannou versus Derek Lewis, we get Volkanovski versus Ortega, and we get Jan Blachowicz versus Glover all on the same card, which would be incredible. Unpopular opinion. Islam versus Conor does 1.5 million pay-per-views. I'm going to say false on that one. I don't know if that's true or false question or not. But I think it does big numbers. But I don't know if it does that many numbers. But anything with Conor, you know what? You're probably right. Anything with Conor is going to sell big. And they can sell that Khabib storyline. I said this before on one of my chats. If I was Khabib, I would say, let me see what's going on. Can you guys still see me? This is going to sound crazy. Maybe Jose Aldo. I really like Jose Aldo. And he seems like a great guy. But I don't know. I've never really thought too much of that, you know. I love Khabib's personality, though. And I think he's a lot smarter than people realize. Conor and the Broomstick does 1.5 million buys. Probably. Well, guys, I think that does it for this live chat. We're almost to an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to be trying to do these weekly. I really appreciate every single one of you guys joining me. If you haven't already, please just like the video. If you're watching this in the future when it's not live, I really do appreciate you too. I'm going to be trying to do these once a week from here on out. Ginge throws in a question at the very end when I'm trying to end this here, but it doesn't matter. I still got time. True or false? Adesanya is going to be middleweight champ for the next 3 years. I'm going to say false. Somebody's going to catch him. Somebody's going to take him out, my friend. Ginge. But if you guys enjoy these live chats, you know, I'm going to keep doing them. And it seems like you guys like them. I like interacting with you guys. I like talking all things MMA. It's fun for me. I'll even try. I'm going to even try to start doing them, you know, more often. You know, even if I can squeeze in 2, 3 a week, and a fight stream, I'll do it. You know, because there's so many different topics. I can't physically make a video about every single topic. And you know, getting on here and interacting with you guys is a lot of fun. And you know, a lot of you guys seem to enjoy it too. But it's been a lot of fun tonight. I'm going to try to stick with Wednesdays from here on out. I may do a fight stream on Saturday, but I don't know because of the timing. It's a very early card. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Thank you guys for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I will see you guys in the next stream. And look out for my videos. I'll be putting out more videos this week. I'm sure there'll be other news. So look out for those. And I'll talk to you in the comments. So thank you guys again. See you next time.